Okay, so in this video I want to show you how we can manipulate matrices within MATLAB so that we can extract data, modify data, and further do some data manipulation with data analysis. In addition to the data analysis, do some data manipulation. So let's go ahead and define B as a matrix 1.5 comma 3.1. Okay, so a nice thing in here is we can define another matrix. Let's just say S equals 3.0 comma, and I can insert the initial matrix B in here, and what that's going to do is going to concatenate that data to it or append it to the back of it. So now what happened was we had our original data matrix B, we appended it to a scalar that was 3, and now we have our initial scalar plus the matrix B. So this is just a very simple example, and you can imagine how complex that can get and how much power that allows you to have when you're dealing with data matrices. Okay, the other thing we can do is, so let's go ahead and define another matrix T equals 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then I can put semicolon S square bracket, and what that does is now I have 1, 2, 3. I made a new line for the next row, and then I put the elements of S in there. So now I made a matrix. So just by building different matrices, appending them, adding them either to the end of the row or adding them to a new line by using a semicolon, I built a matrix T. Okay. The other thing I can do is I can take my matrix, for instance S, and I can modify some values in here. I can modify some values, and what I can do is I can do some indexing techniques. So on the left side of the equation I say S of location 2, and then I can equate that to some values. I can say 1.0, and if I do that, what happens is my matrix S now is 3, 1, and 3.1, and what I did was I took location 2 and I made it equal to 1. So location 2 is 1, 2, which was originally 1.5. I overrode that value with 1. So you can automatically, in your code, update some values if you needed to. So these are some things you can do with data manipulation. Now, additionally, what we can do is I can go in here and do S of location 4, which as you can see does not exist, and I can assign it a value of 5.5, and then what that does is it further appends the data, adds another data point to the end of it. Okay, as you notice here on your left side on your workspace, now this becomes a 1x4 matrix. So these are cool little things you can do with data manipulation or matrix manipulation in MATLAB. With that said, a question may arise, well, what if you say, so we just said S of 4, what if I take a value that is outside of the range? Let's just say I say S of 8, okay, which right now this is a 1x4 matrix. What if I give it a value of 9.5? What happens to the data? Well, let's go ahead and test it out. What happens is you have your original data, 3, 1, 3.1, and 5.5, and then it goes, so this is location 1, 2, 3, 4. Location 5 doesn't exist, 6 and 7. So what happens is it appends the data that doesn't exist. We just automatically assign values of 0 to, and then location 8 we assign the value of 9.5, and that was very useful again in some situations when you're trying to do data manipulation. So this is a quick overview of how you can do some matrix manipulation within MATLAB, and we can see how we can make this a lot more complicated later on and how we can utilize this to our advantage.